Hello and welcome to Raising Those Spirits. I'm Steve,
And I'm Sam.
and we are into the summer, and we are going to try something new this week. We are not, well, not this week, this summer, we're going to do kind of an offshoot. We're going to do Raising Those Spirits Campfire stories, because I think we're both just a little burned out on children's media.
There's a lot of it,
There's a lot
and
of it.
it's one of those things where it could be, every now and then you need a break. So we're trying something new,
So,
a little creative writing exercises.
So we're going to take our college degrees and all of these cryptids we've been making and kind of start making our own scary stories to tell in the dark short stories based around all of them, and maybe we'll have a nice little collection by the end of the summer. So it's kind of like
Mhm.
telling campfire stories. So we're going to outline and block a cryptid or two a week depending on how quickly we think they resolve themselves.
Yeah, and we don't do these on video. So Steve, please imagine that I'm sitting in a dark room with a flashlight aimed at my face.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
You
I have the
know,
light on.
I'm a sucker because I could be outside around a fire recording this and I'm not.
No, we have enough trouble with audio as it is. I don't. I think that's a terrible plan.
Hmm. I find I could be inside in front of the fire.
There you go. Then you get a nice little uh,
Exactly.
crackling in the background. There's services we could pay, and they could probably add in a fiery crackle noise in the background of our podcast.
I'm sure I
Or
could find a DRM free
yeah,
sound. I won't. That's more work. But
you you could always just next time you're sitting by your fire, just put the microphone out,
I could.
let it run for 10 minutes, and then you put it on loop. There. I don't have a fireplace, so I can't do this. And I mean, you graciously edit these, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm constantly foiled on making you edit. When I was supposed to go to your Memorial Day party, I still have the hard drive in my car to give you with the editing software, and it's just never made it to you.
Now, my plan is to buy a computer that already has it on it. That's I need a new computer. I don't have a computer. I just use my work computer, which I can't really get away with
That's not
loading up with a bunch of
sustainable.
software.
Yeah.
I met with one of the tech guys today because we were getting a new hire set up, and I was saying how we were talking about like things you can and can't do with your computer. He says he's having a big problem now with people downloading like sports betting software.
I can see that.
Uh, and he says that when that happens, because I work for the state, if you do that on your work computer and you work for the state, you get reported to the state. So people are getting in a lot of trouble. I
I
was
would
like, who
imagine
is that stupid
you would be
to do that?
shocked.
No, I know. It's just like we go through so much ethics training. Um, like we all have to do it every year for the state. We sit down and we do this long training about how we can use what we can and can't do. And I think they're just gonna have to add specifically: do not download DraftKings onto your state-owned work laptop.
Keep that on your on your work, like put it on your cell phone. You have a smartphone. Download the
So,
app.
yeah. I bet I could get away with having audio editings. Oh no, don't put that in the podcast.
I
What
mean,
can I get away with on my work laptop?
you go to an art
Probably
school.
could.
You need
I
to
probably get it
have
for
it.
free.
You need to have it, in case someone sends in like a sample of their art that you need to be able to run through something. You could
Yeah,
come up with a
no,
bullshit excuse to have it.
I could. They like me in the IT office. I'm sure they'll be cool.
Just be like,
Anyway,
yeah,
before I do
sometimes
anything
I got it.
unethical,
I got it. Sometimes people send stuff in and it's not in the right format, so you can run it through this software and get it into the right format.
sure, that could actually fly.
Yeah.
That does make sense. Okay, good. We've come up with a plausible lie. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, no problem, because all this software it can read all audio and video types, so no matter what format they send it to you, Premiere can take it in, Audition can take it in.
Oh, I'm with you.
All right. That's a weird digression.
It was weird. Good
Uh,
luck editing it.
I'm yeah, this is all staying in. I'm getting lazy.
Oh, that's fair.
If you compare my
I can't blame
editing
you.
from the first few episodes to now, it's like a night and day. I used to put so much more time and care.
We are dads. We are tired.
I'm so tired. It's
They're
hot now.
providing. It's so hot now. We just bought 3 new window air conditioners because our old air conditioners were being stored in the basement and they were sitting directly under a massive leak.
Oh
I was
no.
like, well, I'm not putting those back in. Like they were getting drain water, like drain from our upstairs neighbor's sink. The upstairs neighbor's sink was getting drained directly onto my air conditioner. So well, I'm never plugging those back in. They're dead to me. And I was not about to go to Best Buy to pick them up. I was like, I'm not gonna buy. So my wife ordered new air conditioners to be delivered to the house. I'm like, I need to put in the least possible amount of effort to getting new air conditioners because my back can't take it. One of our friends even offered. He was like, "You could just have these air conditioners I have. I don't need them anymore." I was like, "No, I don't want them." I didn't say it, but it's like, "But if I try to get them from your house, I will throw my back out entirely." It's like I
Yeah.
will die. It'll be the end of my back.
Years ago, after we moved into our first house had AC. So we were like, oh, we'll just give all of our window units to my sister-in-law. Perfect. She needs them. We don't. She showed up the other day, basically unannounced, with all of them and was like, hey, I have AC now, so you can have these back.
It's like nobody wants them back.
And
These are the worst appliances.
and I need them now theoretically. Like my new house doesn't have AC, but also like
Mm.
they are incredibly heavy. And
They're heavy. They don't have handles.
yeah, these are like the ones that like stand upright. They don't even go into a window directly. So it's
Oh.
like they were so heavy and like the size of me, and out of nowhere it was like, "Okay, you got to get these out of my car." And I was just like, "Okay,
It's
I
like
can do that."
these, like they weigh 150 pounds each. It's an
Mhm.
exaggeration, but I don't think by a lot.
They it feels like they do.
They're so heavy. Our backs can't take it because we're dads, and
Cuz
that's what this podcast is about:
yeah,
being
I
dads.
throw around a 30-pound weight all day, every day. I don't, you know, you'd think that would make my back stronger, but it doesn't.
I always thought, I was like, oh, when I have a kid one day, back when I was younger, I thought I will lift my child several times every day, and my child gains weight every day. Therefore, I will get stronger and stronger. And that is not how it feels. Because now
Because
when I lift my daughter up, I feel so weak because she's like heavy.
and they squirm. Like if yeah, I could probably pick up an actual like 35-pound weight and curl it throughout the day as many times as I pick up my son. But and I would actually get gains because I'm not constantly like readjusting to this wiggling thing that's trying to fling itself to its death.
Because
Because
the weight doesn't care whether or not you're picking it up. Your child will do
yes,
everything in its power not to be lifted up.
yes. So ugh, my
Until
poor
it's time
back.
for them to brush their teeth. Every time, like, I need to get my kid to brush her teeth, it's daddy carrying me to the bathroom. I'm like, why? Because she's like, I don't want to walk to the bathroom. It's like now I have to lift this dead weight child up, and she's almost 6. You know, she's like 50 some odd pounds. I think I have no idea how weight works. Yeah, she's just dead weight. I'm like, please, we are so close to the bathroom. Just walk. And tonight, I didn't even bother having her brush her teeth. I was like, I don't even care tonight. Just go to bed.
My son is young enough that he still uses the toothpaste that you don't have to spit,
Hmm.
and so I literally just bring the toothbrush to him in his bed, and he brushes his teeth, and then I walk away with it.
I had my daughter brush her teeth while she was taking a bath the other night, and she was like, "Where do I spit?" I was like, "I don't know. I didn't really think this through."
Oh my god,
Found a cup. I was like, "Spit in this cup. This is gross. This was a dumb idea."
we 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 dropped the ball on this one. Yeah, Bluey dropped a dance soundtrack, like a club remix.
Nice.
I don't know if you've heard it, but we
Have
have
not.
a pre-bedtime dance party to wear him out before bed every night, and I'm so tired after it. The album slaps. It's real good. But there is a Chattermax club remix, and it's perfect. but after dancing to that, I just want to nap.
Yeah. If I had any recommendation to anybody who doesn't have kids and is thinking about having kids, have them young. Be younger. Be younger than us. We didn't have kids until we were in our 30s. I think if
Yeah,
I could go back and try again, I would be like, I'm 25. I'm just getting somebody. It's a terrible plan.
yeah. We were talking to our friend Michael the other night, and he had both of his kids, like one in his early 20s, one in his mid 20s. And I was like, look, I know like it was a lot harder for you like financially, etc., etc., but like you were in your early to mid 20s, you had that kind of energy. I feel like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm so tired. And he was like, "No, I can't even imagine doing it now." He was just like that. That sounds awful. So, yeah, different problems. It's a lot harder
Um,
when like social ways when you're younger, but when you're older and established, you're just tired all the time.
yeah. So Steve, we've been blabbering on for a while.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What is our we're gonna do? So we're gonna do campfire stories. What is
Yes.
our? How are we gonna make that work?
Well, we're still going through state by state, and
Hmm.
this week I had Delaware, which
Ooh.
sucks.
Oh.
Get your act together, Delaware.
I mean, we've been making this joke ever since what was it, Wayne's World 1?
Probably. There are three cryptids in Delaware. That's
Hmm.
it. There's three cryptids.
Feeling
They
pretty good.
they have not really because they're all ripoffs.
Oh
There's
no.
no original cryptids.
Okay.
Um, so two of them are from Native American lore, which
Makes sense.
means we've already covered them from other Native Americans. One of them is called the Mhuwe, Mhuwe. It's a Lenape
Hmm.
legend, and it's a Wendigo. It's just a Wendigo.
It's just a regular old Wendigo.
It's called an ice giant. They're cannibals or people who went mad from the cold. So I couldn't do that because we've already like we know Wendigos.
Sure.
Um, and then they have like a merman,
Ooh.
and I'm like, okay, it's just a merman. Like, there's nothing special. There's this one place that claims they found a mummified merman, and they have it on display.
Could be a fun road trip.
Yeah, and so the third one, which I chose, is the Pukwudgie
Ah, yes. Good old Pukwudgie.
from the native Delaware and Wampanoag Indians.
Hmm.
Um, So I basically already covered these guys in our first cryptids episode with like little people in the woods that help you out that used to be friends with people, but now they're not friends with people and they play tricks and stuff. It's
Yeah, I
another
was gonna say we definitely talked about Pukwudgies on this podcast previously.
yeah, but they're not. I don't think they were called Pukwudgies back then. I think they were something else.
I think, I mean, I'd have to go back and re-listen to our old episodes. I think they have come up specifically way back in like season 1. I think we did a little. I think they came
Oh,
up in some conversation.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, they are said to be little intelligent humanoid creatures
Hmm.
who were at one point friendly with humans, but at one point turned aggressive towards them.
Ooh.
It translates into little wild man of the woods that vanishes. They're so yeah, they're 2 to 3 feet tall. They can appear and disappear at will, shapeshift, and use magic. They launch poison arrows. They can create fire. They look like a half human, half troll from the front, and from the back, they have porcupine quills going down the back.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they're at least.
Vicious.
I can't think of them without thinking of Dunny from The Witcher, the porcupine guy.
Did not watch The Witcher.
Okay. I only watched a little bit of season one, but yeah, there's basically a man who's been cursed to be like a porcupine man
Poor guy.
or like a hedgehog man or whatever he is. It's I get a very similar vibe.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, they're known to kidnap people, push them off cliffs, attack their victims with short knives and spears, use sand to blind their victims. They're pretty vicious. They cause mischief and torment people. It's just kind of their shtick. So
Oh.
it Midjourney had a lot of trouble with this one because a lot of the descriptors I was putting in are forbidden. They're like against community violation.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I've gotten those a couple of times.
where I'm like, guys, like, come on. So my two favorite are towards the bottom. I have them isolated. One looks a little more like a troll than a man, and none of these are 2 to 3 feet tall.
They're all very tall.
They're all very, very tall. That's my fault. I did not do the brief. Um, honestly, there's this guy I'm gonna put in. He's pretty small.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a pretty good descriptor of what he looks like. Or this is, in fact, it looks like two of them running towards you. But yeah, Pukwudgies.
It's like a very vicious gnome to me.
Yeah, basically, it's like a red cap, but like a porcupine version of it.
Hmm.
So they're cool. They're not very original. I mean, a lot of the different Native American tribes all around continental North America had similar things pop up all around. But that makes sense. There was pretty vast trade and such. Stories move
Oh sure.
around.
I mean, they have a common origin somewhere way, way back.
Yeah. So that's that. And then we had two offshoots for tonight's cryptid. One is a many-legged wolf with deer antlers. It reminds me a lot of Odin's horse,
Yeah, really got it wrong on that one.
Sleipnir,
Yes.
which is the eight-legged horse. It's kind of like that, but it's a wolf with antlers,
Yeah,
which
they
is,
almost look like snakes for antlers.
yeah. So I'm into that, and it's weird. It looks like it can bend its claws into the shape of hooves and then unravel them. So like I'm kind of into this thing. But then
Hmm.
there's also it looks like an alligator, but if you elongated all of its limbs into like snake-like appendages. So it's still got like the claws and stuff at the end. They're just long and snake-like. And it seems to just have like bounded up to this man who is like, I thought I told you not to come around here anymore.
Yeah, it looks like he's really pointing at him like, "Hey, you."
It looks like he's
He is
shaking his pipe at him. Like, look, I just came out here for 5 peaceful minutes to smoke my pipe.
I did not need to get attacked by an alligator frog man.
There's snow on the ground. Why is there even a lizard person here? Are you not cold-blooded, sir?
uh
Which of
those are
these
some
two do you think we could have the most fun with?
Well, I mean, I like I like the antler wolf. Feel like it is the closest to being an actual mythological creature. Although frog gator looks like something out of a medieval like lithograph.
Yes, it has such big lithograph vibes. Like this is just something that someone was described an alligator and drew this and it came out so horribly wrong. This alligator has a booty. It looks a
The
little
front.
bit like it's twerking.
It looks all mixed up.
It's
And that's the fun thing about AI generated art is it is a mess.
if I had to put a sound effect over this image to sum it up, I feel like it would be Zoidberg's whoop 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 whoop, whoop as he leaves a
Hmm.
room. That's the energy I'm getting from this.
Absolutely. I think we're gonna go with that one.
Okay.
This Gator man. I mean, like it feels like what we need to go with. I want to give it a fanciful name. I think I'd
Okay.
call it Zingwin.
A zingwin.
Zingwin.
Like a penguin but with a zing?
Oh, I don't know. I was just making sounds that sounded good together. A Zingwin.
I'm into it. Zingwin. Let me add it to the list of cryptids.
A Zingwin. It comes from the swamps. It emerges midwinter. Once it's
Once they
digested too
freeze.
much as its food. Yeah, like it comes out when everything's frozen, and mostly what it's doing is it's looking for frozen fish and amphibians, ones that have frozen over in the lake. It kind of uses its pointy snout to dig them out, so we can eat the frozen fish, and then it hibernates in the warmer months after it's had its fill.
Okay.
It's the Zingwin.
What's it have to do with the people, though?
People found it, and they're like, "Hey, that's our fish. Get away from our fish, you Zingwin." I don't know that it ever gets this snowy or cold in Delaware, though.
Oh yeah, that's why they have that other cryptid I was telling you about, the ice giant,
Oh, that's
because
right.
those are people who got too cold.
That's my take. That's my take on this little beast.
I
Beastie.
I like that he comes out when the swamps freeze.
Yeah.
Um, I think he might almost be like a nuisance. I'm almost getting like a Yule lad type of a vibe where it's like, oh, the first full frost has come out. Everyone watch out for the Zingwin.
Yeah,
I don't
because
think
I
it
mean,
eats
like,
people. I think it just like, you know,
oh, he's a forager.
he's
He's not
oh
vicious. He's
yeah,
not vicious.
he's gonna get into your root cellar and eat all like your salted fish and stuff like that. He's gonna try and come down your chimney.
Yeah, so he comes from a folk legend of teaching everyone to be sure to lock up all of their preserved foods during the winter. It's just like, oh, well, if you're not safe with your preserved foods, the Zingwin's gonna get it. That's where
And
that comes
when
from.
you go out at night to like grab something from the pantry, it's like watch out for the Zingwin.
Yeah, he might be out there. He might goose you right in the butt. Don't walk around with beef jerky in your pocket in the winter. If you do, the Zingwin's gonna get you.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Hunters and stuff have to be like you have to be really careful when you're traveling between towns and like stuff like the long distances between farms and stuff because if you packed a lunch or something, the Zingwin's gonna smell it.
Mm-hmm. That Zingwin wants your smelt, wants your tin of anchovies.
He wants your candle made of, rendered
Or
fat.
yeah, your tallow candle.
Yeah, because there was fish oil in them a lot too.
Hmm?
So he loves that fish oil, and he loves the warmth of the candle. Okay, so now we have to turn this into a short story. We've kind of screwed ourselves with a silly one.
Oh,
Um,
come on. That's great.
I mean, this is going to be nothing compared to when we have to write one for Bill Oates, the comedian whale that burrows in Colorado.
I love billows.
Bill Oates is going to
It's
be great
so good. Yeah, he's
because the
fun.
person in our story is going to have to be tripping on mushrooms or something, and they're just going to have that.
Mhm.
Like it's going to be like a fanciful. Okay,
Uh,
the Zingwin. Let me open up a Word document.
what is this? 1997.
Beware the Zingwin.
You have a drink tonight, Steve?
Oh yeah, God, we haven't even done drinks. I have a terrible drink, Sam.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so I was given as a present for Christmas because my
Okay.
in-laws did a secret Santa where you bought someone like a bottle of alcohol.
Okay.
And I think you were supposed to give them a book from your bookshelf that you thought they would like and a bottle of alcohol you'd think they would like. And my sister-in-law got me a whiskey from Tipsy Moose, which is in upstate New York.
Ooh, okay.
It is vanilla chai and coffee flavored whiskey.
Oh no.
And I was optimistic, but I'm going to say it's the Jägermeister of whiskeys is the best. It's like the closest I can get to. It's like the chai, it almost gives it like a cinnamon like fireball feel, but like in like a bitter Jaeger kind of a way with the coffee. It's like if you mixed
Uh,
Jägermeister and Fireball whiskey together.
that sounds terrible.
I did not enjoy it.
There's no appeal to what you just described.
I was like, this is something I would drink around a New England campfire, like, when it's early summer still and it's dropping down to like the high 50s, low 60s at night, so it's still like a little chilly around the fire. I figured this coffee and chai whiskey would be a nice sip in a little bit of cold. No, nuh-uh. Do not recommend. I have so much of this. I'm gonna try and give it to my brother because he'll drink anything.
Oh, that's enabling, but I'll allow it. So before we started the show tonight, Steve and I were talking about car repair, and I didn't tell this story because I was waiting for this segment. It was a couple of weeks ago. I knew my brakes needed some looking at, so I brought my car into the shop. I was like, "Hey, could you take a look at the brakes?" And they did. And obviously, this ended up costing me like $1,600. I think
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, because all the brakes, they were like, "All your brakes need replacing. All your brakes are done." I was like, "Great."
Yep, I had
And I
that
have
with
a
two
tendency
cars this week. I feel ya.
exactly. And I was like, well, whenever I find myself in a spot where I've blown a bunch of money on car repair, I will make myself feel better by spending more money on something dumb. So I bought a whole bunch of nips at the liquor store next to my mechanic. Just thinking, oh, this will be fun if I ever get around to playing nip roulette, which is a dangerous game. One of those nips I got as kind of like one of the gag nips was a bottle of Old Smoky brand moonshine. The flavor is Hunch Punch. So this is almost like I'm just drinking this straight. Some ice. It is like call it a Hawaiian Punch flavored moonshine. It's quite medicinal. Feels like I'm drinking like a glass of Dimetapp. I don't recommend it. I think I've had this brand of moonshine before and they are good. I don't like this flavor. Of the players of Nip Roulette, just myself, I lost that game.
It's always a shame.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish it anyway. I also have a can of seltzer and a Coke, so that I can stay hydrated and awake. Cause, like I said, Dad, you're tired.
All the time.
Ugh, I just took the last sip. God, I hate it. I hate that. I hate that I drank the whole thing.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for committing. I did not. I took
Monster.
one sip and was like, mm-mm. And then I took another one just to confirm, and I was like, yeah, it's not one of those things that gets better when you, like, get a little into it.
How much drunker do I need to be before this tastes good? The
Yeah,
answer
like,
was a lot more drunker.
if you had given that to me, like, after I was already pretty far in, I might have been able to do it, but no. Also, I don't
Huh.
get that far in anymore.
All right, two losers this week.
Two losers this week. So, yeah, this is when it's good that no one in my family or that I know listens to our podcast because I can be like, your alcohol is very bad. I'm sorry. I know it came from your favorite restaurant, but it's bad.
I know this gift was given with love, but it is bad, and you should feel bad.
Yeah, I hate it. Thanks. Yeah, so, okay. So, we're doing this sober. Cool. Um,
Oh no, I drank the whole thing.
oh,
I am not sober.
oh,
No. Oh, I just spilled Coke on my keyboard.
perfect. I'm just teetotaling. I tried. I was really optimistic. I was like, I can pour a tall glass of this, and I did like that experimental, like tiny glass, and was like, mm-mm.
Good. No bueno.
It wasn't. It was super disappointing. Cause I actually thought to grab it because we ordered a bunch of these like I needed to do an elimination diet, and there was a company that like meal one of those like meal prep companies, did them for the diet that I needed, and I was like, great. And I like ordered a bunch because they were having like a promotion where I got like 9 free, and they are so bad, Sam. Like they're mostly inedible, and
Uh,
our chest freezer is literally like full of these. So me and Petra were like, we have to start eating these to get room in our chest freezer. And so I ate a very disappointing one of them, and it was actually the best one I've had so far. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna open this liquor, and it's either gonna really seal the deal on the night or it's gonna improve the night. And here we are.
all right.
Yeah. Beware the Zingwin. All right. So what year is it?
Well, looking at this image that we have prompt for, so to describe it to anybody who is not following us on Instagram, please follow us on Instagram to see all the images we generate. We have what looks to be like I'd say 1600s, probably colonial America. It's a icy scene. It is snowy. We have a colonial home with one of those A-frame roofs. Seems to be a pilgrim in the background and a man who might be out of a old-timey story in the foreground who's kind of menacingly pointing at the Zingwin
Yeah, that man's kind of got a
red coat.
Victorian Scrooge vibe to him. I'm gonna say pre-revolutionary New England.
Okay. Yeah, so let's call it the 1750s.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have no, I don't know anything about the clothing style of the 1750s, and I'm willing to bet neither does Midjourney.
I mean, Midjourney again. It seems to have a Pilgrim and a Victorian era guy in here. So,
There's a lot that AI art cannot do, just for the best.
well, I mean, that was like a really big area for fashion in Europe. I just looked up, but let's try American. 1750s American fashion. Yeah, this kind of does it actually.
Okay, 1750s. It's the 1750s. It's Delaware, which I mean,
Well, this
what do I
doesn't
know about?
have to be Delaware. This
Oh,
can
no, we
be.
can move it out of Delaware.
Yeah, because the cryptid that we were doing was in Delaware, but this one isn't necessarily in Delaware. This
So
one
the
gives me Massachusetts vibes or Vermont vibes or Rhode Island, somewhere up in like
okay,
New England.
we'll call
Uh,
it New England. It's New
yeah.
England. It's the 1750s. Um, which it couldn't be Vermont. Vermont was still French at that time. It could be New Hampshire,
Okay.
Massachusetts. Maine was part of Massachusetts at the time, but it was not its own thing yet. But I would call this Massachusetts. Let's call this like Fall River, Massachusetts,
Fall River.
1750.
Right. I'm going to Fall River tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Gotta pick up a door because we're grown-ups and that's what we do. I'm like, ooh, I found a door I like on Facebook Marketplace. I'm gonna drive to another state to pick it up. That's how I'm gonna spend my Wednesday evening, and I'm excited about this.
Oh man.
God damn it.
Yeah, was
We used to
1750.
we used to be semi-cool.
No, that's a lie, Steve.
We used to be into semi-cool things.
There you go. We liked things that were cool. We've always been dorks.
Yes.
Uh,
All right. So, who is going to be the character in this? I feel like it is probably going to be a man who's got to make a journey through the snow from his family's homestead into town for something, or vice versa. He's got to head back and it's getting dark.
oh, okay. So let's say that he's heading back. He's in
He's
Fall River. He's heading back to his family's farmstead outside of Fall River, Massachusetts. His name, it's got to be something 1750s-y, like Humboldt. I don't know if that's really a name.
Jebediah.
Jebediah. Jebediah.
Um, I mean, it could just. I'm looking at like Revolutionary War names, and they're just like Thomas, George, like Alex.
Regular
17.
names. Jebediah, I guess, does have a very more of a I want to say Amish feel to it.
The top 1700s boy names in America are Thomas, James, Joseph, and Henry. Unique names includes Hezekiah, Nehemiah, Philemon, and Amias. I kind of like Philemon.
Philemon. Okay, this is Philemon. Philemon has headed into Fall River, Massachusetts.
All
What
right.
was he getting in Fall River? Why did he head into town?
Well, how old is he? I feel like that's
He
going to really
is.
narrow down our mission.
He might be 17.
Okay, so a young 17-year-old man. All right, so it's the winter. He went all the way into town in the snow in the winter. So last year we did local state folklore,
Huh? Did do that, I remember.
and several of my stories involved people like going, like they happened on the way back from like a community dance or something. Like they were at the dance hall for like a social gathering, and
Hmm.
then like on their long walk home something spooky happened. So he could have gone into town to like,
But it's
dance.
courting.
Yeah, he could have been courting a woman at a dance, or he could have been picking up supplies and been delayed by the snow, but now it's stopped and he can travel.
Ooh,
Um,
what if? Okay, let's tie it in. So the Zingwin, this thing is it eats your preserved food in the winter, right? So
hmm
let's say the woman he's been courting, what would her name be? Sally? A good 1750s woman name. You got that name looker upper up on your computer.
I have it right here. So Hester, Mercy, Lavinia,
Er,
Sophronia, and Theodosia are top names for women in that time period. I like
Immediately like Hester.
I like Hester, Mercy, and Theodosia.
What if her name is Hester Mercy?
All right.
All right, Hester Mercy. Hester Mercy is the woman that was our character's name. Now I don't even remember. I
He's
have too much
Philemon.
moonshine. Philemon.
He's
Philemon has been courting Hester Mercy, the most beautiful woman in the farming community. But Hester Mercy's preserved jams, pride of the Fall River area, have been pilfered. So Philemon has agreed to take the trek into town to procure her some more food the winter. That's my pitch. That's
all
my
right.
initial pitch.
I'm gonna pick that ball up and run with it.
Go with
Hester
it. Go with it.
Mercy, the most beautiful woman in Fall River. Her father is a merchant in the area
Of course.
who is low on a specific supply that they actually have at their homestead.
Hmm.
And so to try and curry favor with the family, he is trying to help.
Mm.
And so he has to deliver. So now we're flipping it. Now he's heading into town to deliver this.
Oh, okay. He's bringing it into Fall River because he's got plenty of jam.
Yes.
Philemon's got the jam. Philemon's got jams. Blueberry, strawberry, apple butter, you name it. He's got a cart full of it.
Who has been pilfered of his winter jams. Philemon family live. They have a cranberry bog.
Sure.
Family's cranberry bog
Get real
left
local with the cranberries.
an abundance of jam, which he will deliver to curry favor.
Ooh.
All right. Rumors say that the merchant's jam was pilfered by the Zingwin.
Ooh. Of course, Mercy, Hester Mercy's father, Lord Mercy. Oh no, what would you call like a nobleman?
I mean, he's not a
Early.
nobleman. So around this time is when the middle class really popped up, and merchants
Um.
really created the middle and upper middle class. So I don't know if he would have been titled.
Oh no, probably not. So what's his name? So he's got to have a real, important sounding name. George Mercy, father of Hester, or like
Oliver?
Horatio. Oliver Mercy. Ooh, that sounds good. I like that. Oliver Mercy, father of Hester Mercy,
Perfect.
betrothed to Philemon. Do we give Philemon a last name?
He does not. He does not have a last name. I mean,
Should be
what's a good
something like
last name for farmers? Thatcher?
Philemon Thatcher. Yeah, I like that. Philemon Thatcher, farmer, betrothed's father, local merchant.
All right. So, is this about his journey with the jam to town, or has he delivered it and now it is late and he is returning back? And while he was there, since he was in town, he picked up some provisions, and
I think
he's
he's on his way to town. It is a dark, it's wintry. He left later in the day than he should have. And even though his family warned him, it's like you need to beware of that Zingwin. Zingwin is almost certainly what got Esther Mercy's father's jams.
but
And he
Philemon
says
doesn't believe in it.
he doesn't believe that. So he's traveling on the roads into Fall River, and that's when he realizes he's left too late, and there is something behind him.
Despite his family's warnings of the time of day, he sets out to town, realizing only too late in the journey that he will not arrive by sundown.
Hmm. So he's gonna have to camp the night in the woods outside Fall River. And that's when he starts hearing it. What would it sound like? Probably like a chitter, like a.
What does a gator sound like?
I mean, probably like. No, that's not right.
I imagine the T-Rex sound, but imagine like almost like an alto or a soprano doing it.
Like a loud like T-Rex sound from like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, so because it's a big lizard thing.
It's like a honking noise almost.
Yeah, but like a higher pitch, because like the T-Rex is like a roar.
This is more of a squeal. So he hears
So,
the squeal. I feel like he'd also hear the clicking of its very overgrown claws.
Yeah, and the slithering of its long limbs.
Because it's pretty much all tail. Limbs are like, it's just got 3 tails for limbs.
Does it climb
Head.
trees? I mean, we already established it can climb up to chimneys.
Probably can't get all the way to the top, but I feel like it could get
But it's got
up
those
the
like
trunk.
hooked limbs. They're like prehensile, so I feel like it can like swing among the branches.
Oh, okay. I'll go. I'll accept that. I accepted.
Okay, so he
Accepted canon.
hears strange noises, branches snapping.
You can hear it sliding down the bark. Like it digs its claws into the bark of the tree and it slides down.
Bark scraping, mounds of snow, like impacting into the ground from the trees.
He knows
that
it
shake.
can't be a. He knows it can't be a bear or a wolf because those would all be hibernating at this point.
Yes, I mean he could think it's gonna be a wolf. Wolves are around in the winter. They don't hibernate all winter. They do hunt.
Oh,
I've watched
so he's
nature
like
documentaries.
at this point he's hoping it's a wolf. A wolf might leave him alone.
Yeah, wolves don't like jam.
No,
They like
but-
peanut butter.
because they're big puppies. Big floofy puppies. But this is not a floofy puppy. This is a lizard beast.
He hears a howl, but unlike any wolf he's ever heard.
Right. He looks out into the darkness because it's just him and his one, beef fat candle burning off to the side in the woods, and he can see the glint of what he thinks is its eyes before he realizes it's actually its teeth.
Ooh, I love it.
Ooh. And then its eyes open and its eyes are red. And you hear the chittering and the clacking of its claws.
So in the darkness, he sees what he believes are the eyes of a wolf reflecting the light from his campfire. But slowly, the eyes separate and reveal a row of sharp teeth. Because it's like the front of his muzzle, like where his nostrils are, almost look like eyes, but then you open them and it's all the teeth.
Yeah. Hears the clacking of its claws. He thinks, oh, this is not a wolf. The stories of the Zingwin. True.
So I feel like at this point, his horse has to bolt.
Oh, sure. The horse just like goes. The horse is like, I'm not into this.
His horse takes off. The branch that its bridle is attached to snaps.
So Philemon is stuck out here in the forest. His horse has run off, and he is within feet of a hungry Zingwin looking for jam.
He's left alone with his cart and his jam.
My jam! He yells out, You'll not have my jam, Zingwin. They're for my betrothed's father.
Did he bring his musket?
Yeah, but he left the musket balls. He reaches for his trusty musket, only to realize he left his musket balls at home.
The musket balls and powder are still packed on the horse.
Oh, yeah, that's better. That makes him seem less silly.
Because he hadn't fully broken down for camp yet. He made the fire and started all that first to stay warm and have some light so he could break camp. So now, like, he doesn't have a tent.
No.
He doesn't have a lot of that stuff.
It's all on the horse. So it's just him, a cart, a bunch of jam, a jam-eating monster.
All right.
So at this point, he might be thinking, do I bargain with this thing? Do I throw it some jam and hope that it leaves me alone? Maybe he'll throw it his tightest jam jar in hopes that it won't be able to get it open.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's how he gets away.
Yeah. So he has his tightest jam jar, and he knows he over-tightened the jam jars. He rolls it to the Zingwin. The Zingwin struggles to get it open because its hands are a little bit wet. No.
Okay, so one of the jam jars he could realize has expired because one of the big problems with canning is sometimes it doesn't seal perfectly, and that's why people like die at church potlucks and stuff of like.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing that happens?
Oh yeah, all the time in the Midwest.
Potluck deaths, just all like a plague of potluck deaths.
Yeah, because people like can their own soups and stuff and then bring them to church potlucks, and like if the canning is done wrong, they get like E. coli or salmonella or something like that, and they just die. But you can tell a lot of the time because the tops of these jars, kind of like the ones you get from the food store and stuff. There's like that clicky button. If it's out, if it has like fully pushed out, that means there's gas inside, and that means it's gone bad. But if it's pushed out, it's also creating pressure on the inside, so they're really hard to open. So he is just like this.
There's something we could add to the lore. If cans and jars of food have gone bad over the winter, it's because a Zingwin got into it.
Ooh.
Oh, it wasn't my bad canning job that killed everybody at the potluck. It was the Zingwin.
Gonna add that note.
Yeah. Good. That's good lore.
And luckily, it struggles so hard to get the lid off, he has time to make a break for the woods, and the last thing he hears is the sound of glass shattering.
Oh, yeah. So he grabs his bag of jam bag. Grabs his jam bag, his bag of jams. He books it for the woods. Well, The Zingwin is struggling with the jar before breaking it. What does he do from there? Does he wait for the sun to come up?
I mean, at that point, we have options. He can be found half frozen and delirious by, like, you know, a farmer or something in his field in the morning. He can make it to town just running all night and collapsing deliriously. He can, because he doesn't have a way to make fire or anything. It snowed. I mean, what do we think he does? I think a lot
I
of the
think he
children's
would.
story, a lot of old colonial stories, like if you go to like Colonial Williamsburg or something and you do the ghost tour, a lot of these end with like he was found the next morning, you know, freezing and half dead from exposure, rambling about a blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, okay. So he's found the next morning. He's delirious. He's brought to town by another traveler. He's brought to Hester Mercy's father. He tells him this story of his night in the woods, chasing with the Zingwin. When they open his bag of jam jars, they're all eaten.
They're all eaten or they're all spoiled.
Maybe they're all spoiled. The Zingwin got into them and spoiled them. Or is that just the
Or
story that
maybe
he tells?
maybe it's empty because he's been throwing them all night as it pursues him.
Oh, so as it's been chasing him, he's been throwing out the jars, slow it down. So that's why he arrived at town a day late, a bag of jam short.
He spent the night almost, I want to say, placating
Oh yeah, placating the Zingwin.
Zingwin with the jars of jam as he fled further and further. The final jar at the bottom of the bag has completely spoiled. I think that's where we cut it.
Yeah. Oof, it's a good one.
It has completely spoiled. Philemon no longer he now believes in the Zingwin, so he no longer
Never travels with his jam at night.
Philemon no longer ignores tall tales about
About jam eating monsters.
about things in the woods. All right, I love it.
Nice.
I think this came out really nice. This
Right.
is, I feel like, very in the spirit of the era
Hmm.
from everything we read last year.
I think it teaches a lesson about traveling with your goods. Just something that would make sense is something that people would need to know.
Yeah, no, this has the cautionary tale, it has the horror element, it has the fear of the woods from back then. It has almost like an old world feel. Like this seems like it would have been a tale that was brought over to the colonies. Like, oh, my old Norwegian grandmother told stories of the Zingwin. Like, all right, I love this. How long is this episode? 56 minutes. All right, I think tonight can be a one episoder.
Okay.
Maybe we knock out a few of the others that we've done before throughout the
We'll
other
do a couple of
weeks.
specials.
But yeah, some of these are going to be hard. Los Vigilantes Obscuros, the Mexican Slipknot that's trying to summon an elder god. I can't even imagine what we're going to do with that story.
I mean, I think just describing it, Omar, you have described it. I think that's going to be a fun one.
That would almost have to be done like the Magnus Archives, I feel like, where it's like the statement of someone who survived the concert
Oh,
telling their
yeah.
tale, which is, in fact, kind of what they did in one of the Magnus Archive episodes, but we would do it differently. All right, everyone. I hope you're enjoying this because we're going to do it all summer. I had a blast. It was really nice to, kind of flex our creative muscles for once.
Sure. We're going to post the finished story. I'll make it like an Instagram post or something like that.
Yeah, I have a full page of notes. I will do my best to write this out into a several page short story unless you want to take this one. Um, But otherwise,
We'll figure it out off air.
I will at the very least put up a like full coherent breakdown of every beat, but I will try and actually write something.
Okay. Either
Cool.
way, I could do it. All right. Well, I'm going to tell everybody where they can find us, which is Facebook and Instagram. We are at RTSpiritsPod. Uh, if you haven't already checked us out on Instagram, when this episode goes up, you'll be able to see the picture that we're using for this writing prompt. And let us know what cryptids you are interested in. What can we use as a starting point for future short stories? We'd love to hear.
Absolutely. And if you have any input or ideas on anything else, we're always happy to hear about it. If you have any cryptids you want us to cover in upcoming states that we might not discover in a general search, let us know. I'm into finding out some of the fun, more obscure stuff.
We're up to Delaware, so anything that comes alphabetically after Delaware is up on the table.
Which is most of them.
That's true. We're still at the beginning of the
We're at
alphabet.
like 6 states now.
My goodness.
All right. Thanks for joining us. As always, I'm Steve.
I'm Sam.
And we will see you next time.